So if I want to go to start a service-based thing, you could start with $0, but a tangible thing that you need other people to manufacture for you. How the heck do you make that happen with no money?
No investor wants to touch you until you're building momentum. If you are trying to run a tech company and you don't understand tech, you are screwed.
I feel that way sometimes. I'm 12 years in, but maybe I'm still a startup. Hello. How's it going? Welcome to the Something to Prove podcast with Mark Drager and Evan Carmichael. I'm, of course, Mark Drager, and you all know Evan Carmichael. Good morning, Evan.
Morning, man.
Before we got on the recording, you introduced me as your special friend.
Yeah. Well,
what's up with that word combination?
Okay, I don't know. What would you prefer? What's up, Believe Nation? It's time to go live. I've got a special friend.
I've stopped joining your live stream hangouts because the other day you were like, "Wow, we talk about Mark every single day," and I was like, "Ooh, I better back off a little bit. I'm coming on too strong." So I haven't checked out what's been happening for you live the last few days, just to give some breathing room here.
Well, we still talked about you either way, so might as well show up.
The most important thing that has been on me since you left for your tour, January 12th. How is the new cooler, man? How is the new cooler treating you?
I have no idea. Good, I guess. It's working.
So
somewhere here.
So some backstory. You guys left on this like epic 3-month road tour. You're going from Airbnb to Airbnb and you're eating fresh food and all this stuff, and it's great. But right away I was like, how can you do this without a cooler? Like just like a travel cooler to put your groceries in, to put your dairy in, to travel from city to city. Now that you're in a hot climate, like how can you not have a cooler? And so I've been bugging you to get one. And yet this entire time you've done it without one. So where are you? You're halfway through the trip. Where do you stand on the need for a cooler or not?
Well, we have a cooler. We got one. But we're less than halfway through. We left January 12th. It's 3 months. So
Feb 18th.
February 18th is this recording. It'll go live later. But yeah, we're just like a month in. We still got a lot of work to do.
Okay. So
cooler. I don't know. I don't deal with this stuff, man. I mean, the food tastes good. This is Nina's domain. She's in charge of organizing the tour. I'm in charge of the space.
She was dead set against a cooler. Right.
She didn't want to have a bunch of stuff taking up space, but we ended up finding one. We found one. It works.
I know. I'm happy for you guys.
We posted on Instagram and said, Mark Drager, thank you.
I love it. But here's the thing. Like it started as me saying like, hey, you guys should have a cooler. And then it became this thing, and now I have to like own the cooler camp. Like now I have to prove to the world that you guys should have a cooler because I'm so invested emotionally into this thing that if ultimately you don't need one really, then it's going to be like it's on me. So like I've assumed the role of pro cooler.
I think Coleman should hire you as their spokesperson.
I keep saying blue Coleman cooler. Keep it simple, right?
I don't think we went Coleman, but whatever Costco sells that happened to be there that day.
Igloo, I think it is, or Igloo, or something like that.
Okay, there you go. See,
I'm keeping track. Anyway, as we go through future episodes, we'll be sure to keep everyone apprised as to what's happening with the cooler, just so that way the audience, who's also going to become emotionally invested into this, can.
This is your mission. This is your mission.
Yeah, like you have that map, right? You start in Toronto, you hit Pittsburgh, you're going all the way this way and all the way back. Like it's basically going to become like just what's happening with the cooler.
You should come back. You should come back to Cleveland, Mark. You can see the evolution of the. I think you and Louis, who came to the first one in Toronto, should come back. Should come to Cleveland.
That would be so good.
Yeah,
and I want to. I think I have a conflict.
Detroit. Crona's going to be in Detroit.
I think I have a conflict those last few weekends because my wife is in a stage play. And a performance of Footloose. I should know this, Footloose. And I think her performances start those weekends, so it might be a challenge.
Bring the kids.
Maybe. Let's get started on our topic for today. What I wanted to talk to you about and dig a little bit deeper into is the idea of needing money when you're an entrepreneur or a startup. Or even when you've been, successful and you're a year or two into it. So many of us entrepreneurs go, we think, oh man, my idea is so big that I have to have money to make it happen. Or we say, I need to get an investor because this just can't happen with money. Or we think this would be so much easier if I could just hire people, and if I could just market, if I could just throw money at it, I would be able to super scale, and it would be so much easier. I need money. And I know that you're dead set against this. But what I want to dig into in this episode is why and how do we practically overcome it? And does money really help? Because it seems like, for startups, for entrepreneurs, for Silicon Valley, it's all about the investor and the super scale and all this other stuff. So what does it mean for us in the real world?
Well, most businesses don't ever get venture capital as a starting point, right? Like, look at most of the companies that they didn't get venture capital. The thing is, most people just spend all their time looking for money, and then they don't ever build a business. Like, raising capital becomes a full-time job, and then you're not actually ever building your business. And so if you're going the venture capital route, so many people go pitch just an idea, and most VCs don't want to fund just an idea. They want to see that you have some traction and momentum. If you go into early stage, you're going to get destroyed on the valuation anyway. And so you spend all this time going out, making your business plan and pitching and road showing instead of actually doing the thing that will help you grow, which is build some momentum. If you go out and you just get a couple clients, even if you are looking for money, you get a couple clients who are paying you, you're already way ahead of 98% of the people who are given business plans to venture capitalists. And so people just spend time in a wasted way. Like, you're wasting your time. Most people are just wasting their time, and it'd be better spent actually trying to start building a business. The other side of it is a lot of people don't even start. Like, at least going out and pitching VCs is some kind of momentum. Most people just sit there at home thinking, well, I can't do this until I have money. And then you wait and you plan and you strategize, but then nothing ever happens. And then fast forward, it's 5 years later and you still haven't done anything. Meanwhile, somebody's made tons of money off of your idea. And so the answer is still just start. Just find the smallest possible way to start. You may need money ultimately to scale, but you need to start. No investor wants to touch you until you're building momentum. And so find the smallest possible, stupidest, tiniest little thing that you can just get some kind of traction or momentum on. And then you start building a business.
Okay. I agree with you on a lot of those things, but I think back to when I started. I mean, I started my business with quote unquote nothing, but I still went to my mom. She still helped with a line of credit. I still had up to $30,000 runway. And so to me, that was a very entry level way to start a business. And I think at the most I tapped into was like 21 grand of it. I think I started with actually $7,000 of equipment, but that's still not no money. So help me understand your position. Your position is I like to bootstrap. I don't want to spend money till I'm making money. I will give ultimate hustle and time, but I'm not going to spend a dime on it. You and I have argued about a $2 app that I said you should buy because it'll save you time, and you're like, "No, I'm not gonna buy a $2 app. Forget the $2 app."
Super $2 app. I don't remember what that app was.
It was something for Instagram. Anyway, but I feel like, okay, I started with nothing. I still started with 30 grand of potential that I could use. That's not nothing. I mean, for someone who has no money, what is that stupidest, smallest thing? Like. You still need to do something. I started my
YouTube channel with nothing. My first video was with Mark Drager. So that's number one.
Mark brought his $7,000 of equipment over.
Yeah. Use your friends. You got to be resourceful.
Okay.
Instead of me going out and buying all this stuff, my first videos were Mark came over and he filmed it himself. Did you bring somebody with you? I don't remember.
No, that would have cost me money.
So. Ask your friends. Instead of you want to start a YouTube channel, instead of you going out and buying a bunch of gear, ask your friends who have a gear. So Mark came over and we did a couple, I think, didn't we?
No, just Disney. We did Disney, and then you started recording at home with that, was it called a zip? Like, what was that camera that used to exist that you just throw a memory card, a USB stick in? A flip?
Yeah, and Mark still did the editing.
Those were terrible videos.
Mark did some of the editing, right? I did some editing. Mark did some editing. I borrowed a camera from a friend of mine named Gavin, and I borrowed his camera for 2 days, and it took me 2 days to film.
I remember when you bought your first camera, you went to Costco because they had a return policy.
Yeah,
I remember this, and I thought you're going to buy a camera from Costco. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, dude.
Go to a camera store.
No, my first video was Mark Drager filming everything. I spent $0 on that. The second video, I borrowed my friend's camera from Gavin, and I spent $0 on that too. And then my future videos, I started filming off of a flip cam, my own DSLR, like whatever I had, I would just film. It's what I already had. Like, someone wants to get started, you have a cell phone, go. What are we doing? We're making this off a cell phone. Mm-hmm. This podcast right now going up, that'll hit my YouTube channel and Instagram Live and everywhere else.
iTunes.
Filmed off of a cell phone. Yeah, that's how I started. And then I started making a little bit of money. So I said, okay, I need to get a camera. And I went to Costco. I bought a couple versions of their Sony handy cams, or whatever they were called at the time, because you could return it. Because I didn't know if I wanted to know if I would use it or not. Where most of the camera stores has like a 7-day return policy or something ridiculous, where Costco's was much longer. And so I slowly started upgrading my Costco cameras until I had the highest end Costco camera, which isn't that high end, but for just a consumer level, I guess it's pretty high end. And then eventually I said, okay, I'm ready to go beyond that, and I need a better camera. And so I tapped Mark and said, hey, Mark, what's the best prosumer camera that I can use?
No. There was a better email than that. You emailed me and said, hey, should I get one of these? And you gave me a link to a Red camera that was like $45,000.
No way. I sent you a link to a $45,000
yes.
camera.
You may not have known how much it cost, but I was like, dude, one, you cannot operate this camera. You do not need this camera. And so we pointed you to like some kind of Canon or something, I think, right? Was it a Canon or a JVC or
Canon
something?
Yeah, Canon something. I spent like almost $2,000 on it, or around $2,000. And I used that camera for 3 or 4 years, even as my business grew.
Yeah, if someone wants to go start a YouTube channel, that's fine. But what if I want to start a software company? I mean, I need...
It's even easier. You have a computer, you sit down, and you write code. That's it.
What if you're the idea person, but you're not the programming person?
Then you can't start a software company by yourself.
Okay, so how do you do this without money?
You partner up with somebody who's going to be a software partner for you. Even as you grow and scale, if you are trying to run a tech company and you don't understand tech, you are screwed. You need a tech co-founder to help you. You can't just rely on your employees to do it. You need a tech co-founder or you're screwed. Yeah.
I'm fine with that answer. I'm not. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to pinpoint.
You're picking the worst examples, though. Like you should pick.
Here's a better example. This is where this question came from. On our how to build $1 million plus marketing agency series. There was a comment left by one of your viewers who said, listen, how do I start a business without money? And I responded similarly to the way you have, basically stealing your genius and just presenting it as my own. No, I said Evan would probably say this, but he wrote back and said, listen, I'm really into motocross motorcycles. Like I'm really into that culture, and I'm a mechanic, I think he said, and I have this idea that's going to revolutionize the industry, but it's just too big. I can't do it without money. And I said, you just got to start. And I gave all the same answers. You just got to start. You got to start. But I finally had a point where it's like I don't have any other advice. When you're this person who's passionate about something like motocross motorcycles, and you're a mechanic, so you're technical and you're in there, but you have this idea that's going to totally change the way that you believe the industry interacts and gets fans and gets people into it and all of these things, that's a big idea. So what should this person be doing to start?
The person should be partnering up with somebody who is in that business, who recognizes your talent and the genius of your idea. Now, you need to have more than just an idea. I don't know what you're drinking there.
It's just water, but it's...
Penn and Teller. I have lots of ideas for Penn and Teller. Doesn't mean I'm going to get paid for it.
Okay.
I got lots of ideas for McDonald's and Microsoft and Coca-Cola. This is part of the problem. I have this big idea that if Google did, man, I'd make a lot of money. Google, one, may have already thought of that idea. And two, you can't do anything except come up with the idea. So it's the execution on the idea that makes a difference. And so motocross, great. You need to go and work with somebody who is in motocross, who has a whole bunch of motocross bikes, and then show me that you are actually talented. Show me that your idea can actually work. Not just, hey, you've got this idea, but everybody else has to do the work. You guys all have to do the work, and you guys have to deal with the money. I'm just going to come up with it. If that's all you are as an idea person, then you need to go get a patent. That's the only way you'll make money, just from the idea. Otherwise, you get paid for the execution. You have to get paid for the execution. You're doing the work.
I think people are fearful, though, that, if I share my idea, someone's going to steal it. I had this conversation with my wife. My wife has this idea of a business that she wants to do. And I said, you got to think really, really big. And I'm saying, like, oh, you got to think, government level and provincial level and tourism level. And you got to think on all this levels. And, think of investors and think of all this stuff and bring them together. And she said, well, if you share that with everyone, then they'll just run with it. They don't need me. And I said, no, they need you because someone passionate, obsessed with this at the helm has to be the person to actually make it happen. They don't want to leave the business that they're in to go run this other business. They want someone who's going to come in and actually lead it. Do you think that's true to a certain level? It's like, okay, I have the idea. I'm going to start small. I'm going to partner with someone. I shouldn't be fearful of sharing it with them because the idea doesn't mean anything. Execution means everything. And I'm the person who's going to execute on this. I just need you to help me do this. Do you think that there should be more comfort in sharing your ideas, or do you think people should be worried about sharing them?
I think there's an expiration date on your idea. And every second that you wait to get it out and to build a team and to build momentum, you're losing. And so, great, I have an idea for a new video series that I want to launch, and I'll tell Mark Drager about it. And maybe Mark will come in and try to do it himself. It comes down to who's going to out-execute. Like, most people don't want to do anything with the idea, and even if they do, if I tell Mark an idea that I have and he goes out and crushes me on it, then I deserve to lose anyway. It's like most people won't, and you're hedging so hard on your idea that then 3 years go by with zero momentum, and then somebody else who you may have told or not is going to crush it on that idea anyway. That idea is going to happen. Are you going to be at the front of it, or are you going to allow somebody else to go off and do it? It's speed. You're losing because of speed. You're so protective of your idea, and then you lose because you have zero speed.
I'm listening. I'm taking it in. I'm trying not to say yep all the time.
Yeah, I got destroyed on our YouTube series because I kept saying yep as I was, let the man talk. Like, okay. I'm doing another one with Tim Story today. He's a life coach here in LA. He's been on Oprah and life coach to the stars, basically. So I got to go do a 10-part series with him. Same thing as you. So I'm very conscious. I'm not going to say yep. I've been told.
You just nod along and go,
yep.
That's yep. Or just revel in the silence, man.
But here's the thing. So look at that idea. I want to make a YouTube series to interview people who've got $1 million+ in their business and showcase their success. Great. That idea came to me. Mark, let's do this. You've got $1 million business. How about I interview you? Boom, let's go. Great. First series. We filmed it one day. We started editing and it's up. And then we went to New York and did the Hunt and Fish Club to do $1 Million Restaurant. And now I'm doing Tim's Story here in LA. And then we'll keep going. Like the momentum. Meanwhile, lots of people probably had this idea. And I could go and tell Gary about it, or Grant, or Patrick, or whoever is in my industry and say, hey, what do you guys think about this? And maybe one of them says, hey, that's a great idea. And they decide to go off and potentially do it. The speed of just me going off and doing it is the difference.
And someone who is, in the phase though of startup and unsure would say, wow, that's easy for you, Evan. You're successful. You have equipment. You have Danny. You have money. People. Like I don't have these things. I need these things. You have them. I don't.
Mark Drager. Anybody can go up to Mark Drager and he'll sit down with you.
Pretty much. Pretty much. I did make your team film it rather than having my team film it.
Yeah, exactly.
I said, I'll give you time, Evan, for sure. Let's have your team film it.
This is why you're still stuck in startup mode.
Who? Sorry, me personally, or are you talking to this
no,
fictional
that person?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. This is why you're still stuck in startup mode. Taking it personally.
I feel that way sometimes. I'm 12 years in, but maybe I'm still a startup.
This is the problem. This is the problem with people. You're unafraid to share. You're afraid to share your idea, and so it never gets out. And so you're always going to be in thinking small and startup mode. This is the greatest thing of all time. People who come and meet me at my events, and they ask questions. Hey, Evan, I'm trying to get help with this, but they're super generic and they're too general, the question. And I'm trying to dig deeper to help them. But they're afraid to share their idea, either with me or in front of the room. I'm like, you just lost. You've just lost. You've just lost the whole thing. The whole game, it's over for you. You've lost. It's over. Because I can't give you advice that will help you and be specific because your question is too generic. And so you're going to get a generic answer instead of actually getting the help you need. I have better things to do with my time. I'm already too busy in opportunity to worry about figuring out how to manufacture the same straw that you want to manufacture. It's like, so you're losing. You're losing because you're afraid. And if you're living in the land of fear and you're making decisions from that place, you lose forever.
Let's try a live case study here. Evan Carmichael comes up with this genius idea, belief sauce, right?
Oh, yeah.
Boom. And you say, we're going to make this happen. You say, how we're going to make this happen? Okay, so you have no experience in the condiments industry, in the sauce industry. You just decide, I'm going to develop belief sauce. And I think you figured out some kind of flavor combination. Do you remember what it was? It was like caramel and it was caramel flavor or something?
You say like an American caramel. It's caramel, dude.
Okay, fine. Caramel.
Let me give you a different example, though. Like, forget belief sauce. Let me talk about what I'm actually doing right now. I'm on this tour.
Right, but it's a service. But all the stuff that you do is service. The reason I think the belief sauce is interesting is because it's a tangible product that, like, okay, how do I get this made? How do I get it packaged? How do I get it in a bottles? How do I get it distributed? How do I like? It's a tangible thing that most people, if they said, okay, I'm going to create a sauce, is like, okay, so you're in it for $100,000 to make this thing happen. That's why I'm curious, like in this fake example, or create a baseball bat, or create whatever, like, you know, your card series, right? You did your entrepreneur trading card series, which is a tangible thing. I think, you know, yeah. So if I want to go to start a service-based thing, you could start with $0. You start with talking to people and driving value, and they say how much, and then you figure out the pricing and away you go. But a tangible thing that you need other people to manufacture for you, how the heck do you make that happen with no money?
How most of these guys started, in their kitchen. Go back and look at Heinz, or go back and look at any of the companies that you see as giant consumer packaged goods. What's the origin story? In your kitchen. You start in your kitchen. I started in my kitchen, and I need to partner with somebody, maybe my wife, because I can't make sauce for my life. It'd be the worst tasting thing of all time. We would start in the kitchen.
So it starts with buying caramel.
I don't know. I have no idea. I want the final product. I want to eat it every day. But it starts in the kitchen, in your home. And then you do pre-orders. You start marketing it and say, hey, I want to make this sauce, guys. And you post it to your friends. Mark, I'm going to make the best belief sauce you ever tried. And I want you to buy 10 jars of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
What of caramel flavored, caramel infused, caramel chunked sauce.
Yeah, with maybe bits of bacon in there.
Okay. Right? Nice. Savory and sweet.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Some rock salt. Yeah.
Wow, you're getting into one of the questions we're going to come up with later. But that's
Mark will buy 10 jars of it.
Okay.
And then I've got my startup capital of $50 to go buy my ingredients.
Wow, $5 a jar. Wow.
Yep.
I thought you were going to go like hipster style, and this was going to be like $32 a jar for
it could be
limited edition.
Now you know if you're selling to Mark Drager to go for the $33 jar. Great. And I've got $320 in startup capital. That's how it starts. And then you go and you make something amazing. Right? And if you don't have the ingredients and you borrow it from your friends, like, hey, Mark, I need some
caramel.
I need some caramel. Can you get some caramel? Do you have anything? Yeah, and then I'm telling my friends about what I'm doing. I'm telling you, and then you know somebody who might help me. Maybe your wife has a really special ingredient source or really special way of cooking the caramel that I don't know about, right? By spreading the word, I'm not afraid that Mark Drager is going to take my idea or that his wife is going to take my idea. I want to tell everybody about it. And then people will help me because they know what you're up to and they're trying to find ways to assist. And so that's what I would do. Hey guys, I'm trying to start a caramel sauce company. I need help. Who do you guys know? What can I do?
Do you think people are afraid of the mom and pop? I listened to this great podcast I've told you about on NPR, How I Built This, I think it's called. And I heard an interview with someone who started a chicken salad franchise. And she talked about spending 3 years just making every day. She would make 3 different types of chicken salad and share it with people and test and test and test and test and test and test in her kitchen. The guys who started RX bars made everything, in his kitchen, and then he became a little basement, and this ice cream company. And it's just time after time after time starts in your kitchen. But that feels like super mom and pop. And do you think people are afraid? Like they think this is too small. I want to be big. And that keeps them from just starting their caramel sauce company in their kitchen and sharing it with their friends and going to the church bake sale and putting up a little table and going to the flea market and putting up a little table and walking away having only sold one, because it just feels small. And I want to be big. I want jars. I want a bottling factory. I want a website. I want e-commerce. In 12 months, I want to be selling $10 million and I want to be in Costco shelves and on Target and all this stuff.
Yeah, that's why people lose. You want to be big, but then you do zero, and so you lose. Yes. Like, we're doing this live on my Instagram right now. There's 23 people watching right now. When I started doing Instagram lives, there were 5 people watching. And now there's 23, and if I keep doing this for another year, there'll be 200 or 2,000. I don't know. But the small starts, you have to love the small starts. If you keep waiting for some big venture capitalist to come in and drop $5 million for you to launch Believe Sauce the way you want it to be launched, you're never going to get your idea off the ground. And so look at the origin stories of all the companies that you love. RX bars or whatever. It's from the kitchen. So that's where you need to start. And tell your friends and get help. Get the resources you need. And go build. I want to make some Believe Sauce.
I love it. Let's shift gears a little bit if we can. We have 3 questions. So in every episode, Evan, as you remember and as you know, I'm sure, because you have the run sheet memorized. Oh, what's that for? Oh, Henry. Is that for...
By the way, I'm holding up an O. Henry.
Yeah.
They don't have O. Henrys in the States. They don't know what an O. Henry bar is in the United States.
Okay.
It's a Canadian thing.
Okay.
Which I didn't know. And then we went to this custom... unique candy store in Santa Monica,
and they had O. Henry bars.
Nina found this O. Henry bar and started flipping out. This is small too compared to what like a O. Henry bar. If I put it like next to my face, like it should be like way giant.
I don't eat O. Henry bars, so I never really liked them.
Henry bars? I
just never liked them. I prefer like Three Musketeers or
you're in Nina's bad books now for sure.
Or Score bars. Oh, a Score bar. I don't think they have them in the States either, but. Oh my goodness, that's where it's at. That toffee caramel flavor. I don't know what it is.
Mark's gonna buy my Believe Sauce.
Okay, listen. It's so crazy. I didn't even mean to get us here, but we have 3 questions that we do every week that are kind of either ors or this or that, just to get to know Mr. Evan Carmichael a little bit better. So this was the second question originally, but I'm going to move it right up. Salty or sweet?
I would try to do both, but if I had to pick, I'd go sweet.
Okay. Sweet tooth?
How about you?
I'm 100% about salt. like if it was the choice between like, hey, would you like brownies or chocolate or these cookies, or like, would you rather have some prosciutto with like a nice piece of cheese, or like, those boards that fancy restaurants do?
It's like a whole bunch of nasty stuff. Prosciutto's nasty.
What?
And brownies are nasty too. I don't like cakey stuff.
Fine.
Nothing cakey.
Pick whatever you like. And yeah. I would rather still have like Doritos or or like roasted peanuts with like salt on them, or like just salt.
But Doritos dipped in belief sauce? That's
Oh, that sounds so gross. That sounds so gross.
It'd be so good. It'd be so good.
Now, take this a step further. Like, you know how they have those yogurt dipped pretzels?
Oh, so good.
Think of being able to do a believe sauce flavor.
Oh, so good. Yes. Amazing. Dude, yes. I'm in. But that's the combination. That's the sweet and the salt. That's why that was my answer. Sweet or salty, both. It's both together, combined. My mouth is watering already just thinking about this.
Yeah, and it's only Monday. You got a few days to go before your crazy epic cheat days that you have.
Saturday, it's coming.
They're insane. Like your cheat days are. I don't know how you eat that much food.
Oh yeah, it's pretty epic.
You must feel like ill by the end of the day. No.
I feel pretty full.
Okay. Question.
I don't even show a good chunk of the stuff that I'll eat on my Instagram. Like, it'll be fudge for breakfast. I don't even show that stuff.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Question number 2. For travel, I know you've been a lot of places in the world. What country or region would you like to hit, and why? That
I haven't done?
Mm-hmm.
Country or region I haven't done, I would pick the Philippines because I've got one of the guys on my team has been with me for so long. Last year, I went to go see my team in Montenegro. There's a good chunk, and then people came, like some people in Serbia, and they all came down, and so like it was really fun to hang out. So I would pick Philippines next. For me, it's the people. I don't really care about seeing. There's no city that like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to go see. When I'm on my tour doing these things, I could spend the whole day in the hotel. I don't have to see anything. I want to meet the people. I want to be with the entrepreneurs. Nina wants to see the sites and eat the food.
You are the weirdest introvert in the world when all you care about is spending time and pouring energy into people. I don't think I don't even know if you're an introvert anymore. You may have flipped yourself. You know that?
No, I'm full on introvert. I am. I'm full on introvert. But I care deeply about people, and so that forces me out of my shell to do that stuff. Even to do this stuff. There's no city like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to go parasailing in Australia or whatever. It's about the people. So it'd be cool to go to the Philippines. It's on our list as the next spot to go to. Just figuring out the timing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. The Philippines would be interesting. That's never been something where I'm like, oh, I can't wait. I'd love to go to the Philippines. But I was thinking about this question because I get to prepare these questions, so I have time to consider them way before you. But
I like having preparation. I'm kind of pissed that you told me what we were talking about 10 minutes before we went live.
You don't want me to do that anymore?
Yeah. Great. Perfect.
Okay, great. Yes. I will send you a run sheet. Like, I was thinking, I'm going to start putting together a run sheet so at least you remember the segments and at least remember the name of the podcast that we're on.
Well, that makes it even better that I don't remember the name.
Great, thank you.
No run sheet, no name,
no run sheet,
no topics.
No rain.
It's better.
I will just keep.
I think it's better.
Moving.
You get the natural reaction.
I'll look down at the time, realize what we're at, move us from segment to segment. Okay, but I was thinking about this. And there are so many places that I want to go. Like I would love to explore most of Asia, but it's because of food, architecture, and geography. Like I'm the opposite. I'm like the opposite of you. I don't want to go to Australia and go parasailing either. That sounds terrible to me. But I would love to experience, like, for me, architecture speaks to history and intentions and culture, and so I like that element of design. I love the idea of the food and being able to try new things. But I've realized that I like going anywhere, like driving down to see your show in your not show, but your first event.
It's a show in Pittsburgh. That was a show.
Fine. That show in Pittsburgh. I've driven kind of through Pennsylvania, but I hadn't stopped in Pittsburgh. And to me, like, just going through the mountains, it had snowed that afternoon, and I'm looking around and I'm like, this is a beautiful, like I think it's part of the Appalachian Mountains. I was like, this is a beautiful part of the country. And then, I mean, it's not like you're like, oh, I'm going to go to Pittsburgh and try the food. Like, I'm sure it has a great scene, but it's not that different from anywhere else,
Pittsburgh right there.
from anywhere else
Pittsburgh,
in the Northeast. But the architecture was crazy, the mountains crazy. And I've experienced that wherever I've gone. Like when we went, my wife and I went to Vegas, we got in our car and we drove all the way to the Grand Canyon in Arizona in one day. We drove there, we spent a few hours there, we drove all the way back. And I just like the scenery. I like the trip. So I was thinking about this because I like to go anywhere. And that's new to me because I've always wanted to go to destinations. And I realize now that it doesn't actually matter where I go. Like, we're just going to make an effort, Jacqueline and I, we're going to make an effort to travel more, but literally we should just travel to wherever we can get to. It's like, hey, let's go to Nashville. Let's go to here. Let's go to there. Like, it doesn't matter. We should stop trying to plan like really specific locations and these trips. And we should just go because there's always good food and there's always interesting things to see. And in my experience, people are always nice. So just take it all in. That's my thought.
We're going to Las Vegas next, and then we're going to do a helicopter trip to the Grand Canyon and back.
That's kind of the fake. That's the fake Grand Canyon, but yeah.
Whatever. It'll be fun. It'll be amazing. Get some good views. Mm-hmm. I'll take it in. Like, we've had some amazing. We're driving across the country. We've had some amazing views, and multiple times, like, holy cow! Look at that. That's insane. That's beautiful. Wow. Like, multiple times. Yeah. But I would still much rather be talking to entrepreneurs.
I'm saying do both then. Whatever. This isn't a like either or. Like, I'm not asking you to step out of your life to go travel.
No, but why? Why? You're like, no. When you say what, like, what city and why, or where would you want to go and why? It's mm-hmm. not because of taking in that stuff. It's about the people who are going to be there.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Last question. What's one thing you hope your son learns from you?
My one word, believe. Like, I want him to believe in himself more. It's with intention. We'll celebrate. Like, when we leave, it'll be Carmichael's can do, and he'll say anything. I think that's the most important thing. If you can fill your kids with belief and confidence, then they're equipped to do anything, more than any skill that they might pick up from you. I don't care if he's going to be an entrepreneur or not. He has a very artistic, like, he loves painting and drawing and all this stuff that I suck at, and I think it's great.
It's the best.
But if it's the best, yeah. And we'll sit down, we'll draw an eyeball together, and he'll destroy me at it. But it's great. Like, it's good to learn what he wants to get into and join him, even though you don't have the skills in it. But if you can teach your kids to believe in themselves, and it's mostly by doing. It's not by me saying, like, hey, remember, believe. It's me doing the thing. It's him seeing me struggle and doubt. I think parents, a lot of them set their kids up for failure in that they hide the things that they're worried about, trying to protect them. Or I think actually showing them that you are struggling and that you have uncertainty, and then that you still get up and you go and tackle it, I think is the answer. I think so many parents hide the struggles, and then when your kids become parents, they feel like, how did mom and dad do it? Like, they got it all, they seem to have it all under control, and here I am feeling like an idiot. Meanwhile, you have no idea what you're doing. Like, as parents, you figure it out as you go. And so I think showing some of the hurt, the suffering, the doubts, the insecurities, the fears, letting them see that, and then see how you still get it.
When it's age appropriate, obviously, like being not being so revealing to put too much stress or burden on your children, though. I think it needs to be age appropriate depending on the maturity level of your child. But I agree with what you're saying.
Sure, you can hedge it, but I think that's getting to the minutia. I think you just need to start sharing. I think you need to, but there's still hope. Not that, like, oh my God, that I suck and we're over and we're doomed and there's no hope. I'm scared of doing this thing, but I'm gonna go off and do it, and I'm gonna try.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's that level. I agree. For me, I almost have this because I'm handy and I'm mechanical, and I learned a long time ago that you can do almost anything. Like, years ago, our fridge broke, and I took apart our fridge and I put it back together without releasing any Freon or anything. Like, I didn't touch any compressors or stuff. And then I plugged it in and it was fixed. And, like if something breaks, for the most part, I've learned that I can't damage it more than it already is. And people are so afraid to do anything for fear of making it worse. But I've learned 80% of the time I can fix something. I can repair something. I can build something. I can do something here. I can do something there. I can start this business. Like if something is wrong, I can usually fix it 80% of the time. And the 20% of the time I can't, I have to hire someone who can. But that's better than just hiring someone to fix all my problems all the time. So like I have this kind of, in my family, people are like, oh, that's just Mark. He has this like, he can do anything attitude. I hope and I wish more than anything else my kids learn that it's just like, just try it first before you turn to someone else. And you're not going to know the answer and you're not going to know how it's going to end, but just try it. And don't worry about making a mistake or messing it up, because you can always turn to someone. But don't turn to someone first all the time. And I learned that from my mom, but that lesson is like, it can be applied to anything. So more than work ethic, more than anything else, I just hope my kids have the confidence to go like, I don't know how this is going to start. I don't know how it's going to end. I don't know what's going to happen, but let me just give it a shot. And if worse comes to worse, I can always turn to someone and they can help me. I can hire them, loved ones, whatever it is.
I like it. You could save this clip.
I can tell my kids all the time. I remember the moment. I remember the moment when I learned this lesson. At our cottage, we had a plumbing leak over the winter, and my uncles, who are amazing with their hands and amazing plumbers, wouldn't come and fix it, or whatever. And my mom just went. So this is maybe like 1993, 94. I'm young. My mom went, "Oh, don't worry, we'll fix it." I said, "Do you know how to do plumbing?" She's like, "No." We went to Canadian Tire. She bought a book on plumbing. She opened up the book and said, "I need these tools," and bought those tools and went there and went step by step by step and cut out the copper pipe that was bad and figured out how to solder it together and put it together and then turned it on and there was no leak. And she was like, "There, it's fixed." And I was like, my mind was blown. I was like, you don't know how to do that. We just figured it out ourselves. And the only worst thing that could have happened is we could have had a leak, but we already had a leak. Right? Like, do you know what I mean? It wasn't going to be a worse leak because we cut some stuff out. And I that's the way I treat everything. Like if you need to knock a hole in your wall, knock a hole in your wall because you can patch it up. If you need to rip up your yard or whatever, don't worry about it because a year later you can put sod down and it'll look like brand new. And you can apply that to anything. You just don't worry. You can fix it and clean it up and paint over it. And no one will ever know that thing happened. And that's like made, first of all, I think I save a lot of money, but it's made it a lot more freeing to just attack things and just try it.
Through the action, right? Like it's through the action, through watching your mom do it more than anything she said.
100%. Listen, let's shift gears to our last segment where we quickly jump on any questions that might be in the live chat. There's a lot of Evan for president happening right now, but I would love.
I wasn't born in the U.S. So I can't be
Mr. GD has a question. I'm not getting what to do in life. I think is being tied to purpose, is being tied to what should someone do with their life. How do you figure this out?
I've got my default answer, but where do you go with this, Mark?
So I think that there's two schools of thought. I think that you can stop and take a moment and take some time to figure out what your passion is, what motivates you, and do all those things. And you can really spend some time looking within yourself, journaling, figuring it out, just to get grounded. Or you can go out and just start doing. Because I wanted to be a civil engineer and an architect, and then I joined this film festival. And I went, wow, that sounds like more fun. And I went to film school instead. And then when I graduated from film school, I got a job working in live AV, which had nothing to do with film. Then I went and worked for an internet marketing franchise. I did 7 years of ground maintenance where I was snow plowing and doing all these things, which is where I learned about customer service because I was speaking to a lot of elderly people and being sympathetic to their needs. And like just all these collection of experiences, like personally, because I think that action is so important, when you're not sure what to do, take care of the today, but write 3, 4, 5, 6 things you want to pursue. Like I want to learn how to drum. So my wife got me for Christmas a drumming gift certificate for like 6 lessons drumming. I have no idea if I'm going to be good at drumming or not. I don't know anything, but could perhaps the idea of being able to measure time and measure pace and being able to do that somehow help me with speaking later? Because of, like, you don't know. Life is not a linear thing. It's a collection of all these mishmashes of experience. So if you're sitting at home worrying about what your life should be, and you're not going out and you're not trying things or meeting people or working hard or putting yourself in new experiences or this or that, then it's going to be very hard to determine what your life should be, because you're staring in front of a piece of paper thinking that you can somehow come up with a life plan, when most people 20, 30, 40 years from now find themselves doing something that they would have never anticipated. They could never have put a plan together to get them there. So I'm of the camp of, like, go out and try a whole bunch of different things, and the universe will present itself to you.
Did you take your first drumming class yet?
No, we're having trouble scheduling it because of my wife's show and because our dog lessons and my kids. But I am so excited that I have it sitting on my bedside. There is no risk of the lack of attacking it, because I cannot wait to suck at it. I'm going to be so bad. And
it's a Christmas present. This is February 18 already. Let's go, Mark. You love action. You just started this whole thing with "I love action."
Yeah.
In almost 2 months with zero action.
I cannot wait to start. I'm so excited about it. You know what? I treat it the same way that I treat my motorcycle. And now that it's sunny outside, it's like I cannot wait to get my bike out. But it snowed today, so I have to just wait a little bit, and that makes the anticipation so much more exciting. It builds up the excitement level so much more that I'm not going to take for granted when I'm sitting there drumming for the first time, or while I'm out on my bike for the first time.
No, then you just keep delaying and delaying because you love the anticipation. Yeah, you delaying because you love the anticipation so much you never do it.
Evan.
Yeah.
I will do it. Don't worry.
Good. It's like, go. It's okay. February.
Great.
18th.
That's not on me. This guy, what's your answer? What's your answer for him?
Yeah, what do you mean it's not on you? It's 100% on you. You could have done all 6 lessons by now if you wanted to. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Like, technically I could have.
Technically I could have.
Yeah.
Okay. Unbelievable. I combine the 2 schools together. I go who, why, how. It's my next book. Who is your one word? When you figure that out, things become a lot clearer for you. I believe Mark's extraordinary. Why? Your purpose comes from your pain. Understanding what the deepest, darkest, most painful moment of your life was. That is your purpose for life, helping other people who are currently going through that thing. The reason why I love helping entrepreneurs so much is because I struggled so much as an entrepreneur. And so that will be my purpose for life. And so when you figure that out, your who and your why, it becomes a lot easier to set some parameters so things just don't feel so overwhelming. Then the how will change many times, as where I agree with Mark's approach. You've got to get out there and just start doing stuff. And right now, even this is a podcast, episode 2. Great. I had an idea driving through the desert that I wanted to do a podcast with Mark, and I emailed him and said, "Hey, Mark, I had a dream in the desert that we were doing a podcast." I said, "Great, let's do it." Right? You just you take action on your ideas and don't judge them. Mark could have written back and said, "No, man, you'd be a terrible podcast co-host. I hate you and everything you stand for forever." Great. Move on. Next thing.
Wow.
Right? Like, what's the worst case scenario that's going to happen? Right? Great. I can deal with that. So move on. And so you go through those steps. The who and the why will be with you for life, and it's worth going through because it gives you some direction and clarity. And then the how will change multiple times. And that's where you just need to start taking action.
We have a few more minutes, so we'll hit a few more of these questions. How long does it take for someone to find their one word? And what if it seems to be changing?
How long it takes depends on how good a self-awareness you have. Some people, they find it right away and they just know. And other people, it's a process and it might take them a couple of weeks to go through it. And that's okay. Like, it's one of the most important things you'll ever do in your life. So if it takes you 3 weeks to figure it out, that's okay. If it's changing, then you didn't pick the right one. It should become more and more and more right with time, not less and less. If you're starting to doubt it with time, then it's not the right one. It's close, but it's not the right one. And what usually happens is when people are shifting, it's because they made the decision based off of an immediate thing that's happened in their life that clouded your judgment. And then after you've come through that situation, you realize, oh, I'm not actually that person. And so you have to be able to step out and see the whole forest, but you're locked into the trees of your current circumstance. But it's very rare that I found, it's common that people have switched one words. It's very rare that they switch again. They usually get it off the second time.
Just a quick follow-up to the drumming thing. One of your praise poll had said, tell this guy certain passions have to wait.
Tell this guy certain passions have to wait?
Yes. Because I was saying about my motorcycle riding. No, he wants me to tell you certain passions have to wait.
That sounds like a fantastic formula for success and a happy, fulfilled life. Let me just delay my passions. That sounds amazing to me. Yes, thank you for that. Thank you for that wisdom. I appreciate that.
I honestly think that when it comes to action, you shouldn't delay. When it comes to like, you know, knowing that in summertime, if you lived in a sunny place, you're in LA, right? 78 and sunny every single day. Weather never changes. It's always the same weather, always the same weather. Do you think at a certain point people just, you know, don't love the sun as much as someone like up here in Toronto, where we're like, oh my goodness, it's we have this short window. You go on vacation in the winter and you get something warm and you just love it so much because you had that short window, right? Something that you loved for a short amount of time, you really honor, you really respect. And so sometimes, you know, it's great that you have to wait till spring to ride your motorcycle because then you value that ride so much more.
Of course, but that's not what we're talking about. Don't do your drumming. There's no reason why you can't do your drumming. Like what you're talking about is sunsets and rainbows.
But I'm a romantic person, so I like the idea of sunsets and rainbows.
No. You're not even listening. You're jumping on without letting me explain the story. Sunsets and rainbows. People will pull over to the side of a road and take a picture of a rainbow and say, oh my God, look at that rainbow, because it doesn't happen all the time. But you get the sunset every day. You could go and enjoy your sunset tonight, and you won't because it's happening every day. You take it for granted. But you don't take a rainbow for granted because it doesn't happen that often. So I agree with you. People here in LA probably take the sunshine for granted. But you could have done your drumming, all 6 lessons, in the past 7 weeks that you've had the gift certificates for. Yeah. So do it.
Perfect.
Or if you're going to lead with us, if you're going to lead a story saying, I love action, then don't give me this example. You're not taking the action.
Listen, final comment to leave us for this episode, and we'll just leave you with this, Evan. Batman is a douche. That was the final
Batman is a douche?
That was the final comment, yeah.
I don't know where that came from, but okay, great. Then you can still learn something from him. And when you learn from a douche who's had success, that's when you start to win.
Batman. I've literally never seen a single Batman movie or a Marvel movie or any of those things ever. So
for someone who's in video production, I think you should watch one.
Sure.
Yeah. Someone who's a marketing agency, I think needs to have context
for a Dark Knight.
You understand culture.
Listen, I'm part of the culture. I know that he walks around and says, I am Batman, and talks like that. You know,
if that's your understanding of the culture, then you should watch it tonight. And
Dark Knight.
Okay, we got 10 seconds left before we get kicked off.
Yes, listen, Evan, thanks so much. I'm glad we got this in the can, episode 2. Thank you all so much for listening, and we will talk to you next week.
Believe.
There you go.
If you want to see the last episode of my podcast with Mark, it's fire. The link is right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
So learn to ask for help and stop being selfish. I did not say that. You forgot the most important part.